The News.com website reported recently that the Victorian government is considering a new plan to publicly share information about sex offenders. It's already available to those in authority like police, but the push now is for concerned citizens to be able to apply to a special commissioner to get that information on child sex offenders, you know, where they might be living. And when I say living, I mean their residential, not their actual address, but their suburb and that sort of thing. But would you want to know if there was a paedophile living next door to you?
Yes.
You would want to know?
Absolutely, I'd want to know. Yeah. I think sexual, aggravated assault, any sexual crimes are, in my books, probably, apart from murder, the most serious crimes. And I think if there's someone who's potentially could do that next door to me, absolutely I'd want to know about it.
Would you move? Oh. Knowing, what are you going to do knowing that information?
If I had the means to move, I would definitely consider it.
But you don't know where you're moving. Like, you don't know who's going to live next door.
That's the question I've asked myself. I've got daughters. You know, I've got daughters, and I would certainly want to know. But then, what would I do differently?
Yeah.
Is it better the devil you know?
I would want to know. I definitely want to know. Like you have children, girls, and being that protective mum, I would want to know if the paedophile was near, you know, on the way to school or near a park that we went to. I probably would just avoid going past that house.
But you don't know the address, do you? You only know the suburb.
No one is publishing their address. It's just the suburb that they're in.
So then how can you avoid a park or you know, walking down a street? Or,
well, the numbers are astronomical about how many is out there, so they are everywhere.
I guess what comes to mind, though, is rehabilitation and the potential for reoffending, because I know some people serve their time and probably will never offend again. And so I'm just wondering, you know, is it the sort of thing where you just don't change?
Well, I actually think, like, how can you change a someone that's capable of grooming an innocent, you know, and intentionally harming innocent people? How do you change that? How do you rehab?
Can I read something that I found? And this is from Harvard Health Publishing. So it's the Harvard Medical School, and they put a document together and they had collated a lot of research. And they said it's an abnormal sexual behaviour. Researchers have found no effective treatment. Wow. Like other sexual orientations, paedophilia is unlikely to change. The goal of treatment, therefore, is to prevent someone from acting on those urges. There is no cure, so the focus is on protecting children.
I've heard that.
There's still not conclusive information out there that rehabilitation is possible or even works, even on a nice big level, you know?
And I think even as a mum, I would want to prevent my child from being in that vicinity or in that area by knowing that information. It's like if it was a dog, you know, you don't know what the dog's thinking. So I'm going to prevent my child from getting bitten prior to it happening.
That's right. It's about the protection. You know, when an alcoholic sort of gets rehabilitated, they're not going to put them to work back in a bottle shop, are they? So we have to be careful about where they're being placed after they come out, don't we? Isn't that part of it? Don't you think?
Yeah, I guess the argument against this law that I've heard is they're worried about protecting the privacy of these people that have gone to jail. And, you know, that's the argument against
attacks.
And preventing it from happening again. But I guess what we're doing is we're weighing up the rights of the paedophile with the rights of protecting our children. And as mums, you know, that's what we're always going to be doing is it's just instinct in us to protect our children above all else.
What about forgiveness? Where does that play into things? And especially for victims. I think it's one thing to say, yeah, I don't want a pedophile to move next door, but as people who have probably, I don't know if any of you have ever sort of come into contact with something like this, but for those who haven't, it's not really an issue that you think about very much. But for someone who it has affected, how do you forgive someone like that?
I think for me, forgiveness is about coming to peace with my own self about things, but it does not mean you tolerate that behaviour. It is unacceptable on every level.
Like, I'm not about to go and break bread with this person personally. I know that once they've done their time for whatever the crime is, who am I to judge that person in terms of be a continual enforcer or, you know, be a vigilante to that person. So I'm not trying to be in their way, and I'm also not trying to put my kids in their way either.
And that's, as mums, what our main thing to do is to protect our children, and that's what I think we need to focus on. What we can do to protect our children.
I do think we should know, though.
Yeah, well, look, I was going to say, I think the big issue here is that we've all got to be on the same page as a community and as a village. We've got to sort of care for our children together. And this is a sensitive topic. Please ask for help if you need it. But yeah, thanks, ladies. That's a really sort of sensitive topic. How do you feel about it if someone moved next door to you? Would you want to know about it?